good. All right, let me just get this cleared. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Pull this up here. Okay, we got a new friend coming on today. I'm gonna mess her name up really bad. A beloved sister. Let's see what we got going on here. Let me just make sure everything's working all right. Yeah, we got 13 people on this page. We got 7 in the Soulology group and 6 on YouTube. All right. So we're going to bring up Eugenija, or maybe it's Eugenija Tau, and get to know her a little bit. First show of the day. We got 3 today. Let's see. Close. Okay. Hang on. Let me just get this set up. All right. Let's see. Unmute. Hello, dear sister.
Hi. Hello. Nice to see you.
Let me turn up my volume. Let's see. Yeah, I'm all the way up. It's good to see you. Thank you for your patience. Sorry I was running late.
Oh, no, no. Perfect divine timing.
Yes, it is. You're going to have to, I guess, tell us a little bit about yourself, because I don't have the bio pulled up. It was a long one, but I don't usually read them anyway. But now you're from Eastern Europe. Is that where you're from?
Yeah.
What country are you from?
I am a Lithuanian, born Lithuanian, but since ever, like traveling everywhere, and right now living in France.
Oh, you're in France.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Atlantic coast and many of us. So I was born in Lithuania during Soviet times yet, and I was like, I would say, very lucky to be born in a family where women knew to appreciate the power of prayers, and I learned a lot of it. And then when Lithuania became independent, I had the opportunity to move out and to go for studies and life to Germany.
Wow.
That was cultural. Well, it is not about achievement, just about opening of horizons and seeing another worlds which never existed in Soviet Union. So those who are listening and who are from that part of the world, they will understand and feel me. So then after studies, I got back to Lithuania and started working again. And again, I was working in public and in private, like everybody, till the awakening come. But I wouldn't say it was completely new, because as I realized, when I was child, I was very sensitive and I could understand the thoughts of other people. In the beginning, I thought everybody is the same. Everybody can understand each other without talking. Then I realized, oh no, not everybody. Even if I think something bad, the adults, they are not getting it. So little by little, they are forgetting it. So that happened to me when I started going to school, to university, started working. So it's quite tough times. It had been because the systems I lived many times changed. So that makes easier to live in the world now, because now it's also shifting and changing. So my awakening started again, a reawakening, would I say, about 2008.
Wow.
I was, by that time, completely full in my life. I was working in Lithuanian parliament. I was working, having business and doing running and quite successful, many friends going out. And then suddenly I was in the morning, I was taking shower, as always, a little bit late. Suddenly I felt somebody hit on behind. So I started falling. And it was slow motion falling, because I thought, oh my gosh, I have these obligations and these. So now I'm falling. So I will injure myself. I will have to go to the doctor. And it didn't happen because somebody just catched me and put me back on my feet.
Wow.
So
you were falling in the shower and something caught you and put you back on your feet.
Exactly.
Did you ever find out who that was?
Yes. Many years later, I was able already quite advanced. I could able to get back in this moment. And it was somebody of my beloved, very, very next dead people, the spirit, who made me to feel that maybe I'm focusing in my life on the wrong direction, that there is something more in life, and maybe not my mission just to initiate protests in the parliament or to do to sell what I was selling. And so it was the first thing that imagine you're alone. If you say on the street somebody what happened to you, that they will say, oh no, it is no way, not possible. But it was. So how you're dealing. So, and then of course the journey started. Jerusalem was very, very strong place where I had a lot of experiences and miracles happening there. So I went again and again to experience what was going there. And another journeys happened. What was interesting when I started traveling around, in the beginning, as I was very rational, and of course Eastern Europeans, the money doesn't come from heaven, we have to earn it. So I was very careful about how are you going to survive, how are you going to get money. And every time even I thought about it, miracles happened.
Wow.
So I was getting tickets for incredibly cheap price. I was offering, I was getting offered apartments or houses to stay for free and just to be there. Another thing what happened, it was, especially I remember in Sri Lanka, each time I was coming to some sacred place, even not known, it was somebody who was taking me on the hand and putting to exactly the very special moment. And it was exactly the very special moment, when I needed to be there. It was the day of the year. So for example, it was hidden sacred sculpture and nobody knows about this place. The day I arrived there alone, there was from Sri Lanka journalists who arrived exactly in the same moment to make an interview with a keeper of this sculpture. And he just proposed me, do you want to go with me? And he spoke English, and of course I want. So After this, I realized it is not traveling for, like, why I'm getting these gifts. Why? So it started opening on other things, what I'm supposed to do. In the beginning, unconsciously, completely. Later, I was showed always like I do something intuitively, and then I meet guide or somebody from this area, and he says me how he would do, and it was exactly how I was supposed to do, to activate something, to clean something, to make some rituals, and like that. So I had also a journey of Maria Magdalena. I lived in the mountains in the southern France. When I started being activated by Maria Magdalena, 2 months later, even less, I got a job proposal in the southern France in Toulouse. So when I checked out where it is, oh, it is Maria Magdalena. Of course I accept, I go there. So it was really beautiful journey, not always that easy, because I feel like I am pushed to places to do something, to support our brothers. What happened also with our common friend, Huna Flash, when he was having initiation and I was in Paris, and I did my things, what I was supposed to do, and suddenly I had him in my inner vision, and I felt what I have to do with him, and he just, after 5 minutes, he called me almost crying, you know what, I needed it. So it is really beautiful confirmations how we can work, what we have to do, what we are supposed to do, what we are born to do.
Yeah.
That's the short introduction.
So in a general overview, you were you were in the matrix, your profession, your work, and then you were taking a shower and you started to fall back. Something caught you and put you back on your feet. Then you started following your intuition and going all different places in the world.
Over
And
10
when
years,
and then
11,
when you what's that?
over 11 years now. It is
Yeah.
not immediately.
So you over 11 years, you were you were you knew intuitively to go to these different places.
Yeah.
And each time you went, somebody was giving you something free, somebody was showing up, something was happening to support what you were doing. So when you had the intuition to go to these different places, did you know what you were going to do when you got there, or were you told when you got there?
Very different. For example, my trip to Israel, which was 2009, I had miracles. I was not that advanced. I didn't know what is going on. When I come back, I was telling to my friends what I experienced, and they have been saying, well, you know, Jewish people, they are quite intelligent. I don't know what you experienced there. It sounds a little bit strange. So maybe they make it to attract more tourists. So I was telling the same story to a few people after I stopped. 3 years later, somebody told me his story, and it was identical to my story.
What was your story? What happened in Jerusalem?
Well, I arrived to Jerusalem, and for Jerusalem, I planned about 3 days because that's the main place, like, you know, holy place. So in the beginning, I went to the excursion in the morning, and it was, I remember it was spring, it was not hot. I was protecting my head, I was drinking water. After 1 hour, I was dying. I had sun heat. Like, I was like dying. I had to come back to the hotel. I come back to the hotel and they thought, oh, of course, I'm Lithuanian from the north. Now I'm going to Jerusalem. For me, even T-sun maybe was too much. So after 1 hour lying in the hotel, I'm saying, no, you know, I came here to visit a city, so I have to go out. So I'm going to the main church. And because I was feeling quite dizzy, I was going through I decided to follow a nun. because there are many people, many tourists, many religious people, and this place even belongs to different religions. So when I was started following her, I was doing exactly what she was doing. I had decided I have to repeat exactly her movements, what she was doing. So we have been going to the church and to some places where have been many tourists queuing. So I did exactly what she was doing. Then we started going where there were no tourists anymore, only two of us. And I remember when we arrived to one room, it looked like table of stone, and she put her head, I put my head, and at the same time, it was like thunder from the heavens. And I closed my eyes. When I opened my eyes, she was gone, and I had no dizziness anymore. I was like, it was strange because this all took like about 3 hours. I was completely sick and dying in my room. Till that moment, I took my head on this table. So I was like in this time, I was telling my friend's story, what I told you. And then since as many years passed, and I met somebody who was telling exactly almost identical story, but in completely different level. And like saying, he was saying to me, I was getting initiated, the first initiation, the second initiation, the third initiation, and it was in spirit. It was not human. As he was telling me his story, suddenly I see exactly the same initiation process. And I see that the woman, the monk, it was not human. It was a spirit.
Yeah. Yeah. So have you communicated with the nun or with the energy that caught you in the shower and put you back on your feet? Have you communicated with your team or whatever uh, group is helping you?
Yes. I later understood that it was like chain of happenings, and then I realized how she was dressed, what had happened, and then you start putting everything together.
Yeah.
But it takes time. But it is good also because
Yes.
you have to be ready for it.
Was it, would you say that it was soul family? Was it galactic family? Was it angelic or everything?
I say creator as some aspect of me.
Yes.
It doesn't matter, it is angelic, it is something I see now as creator, one big consciousness. And in the moment I need, I'm getting it down loud by a different aspect, which is easier to me to understand and to integrate.
Yeah. But ultimately whether it was something that you couldn't see like in the shower, or it was something that you could see like the nun at the table, you see these things as aspects of yourself. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Of course,
agree.
I'm part of creator.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I agree. Yes, absolutely. I agree with that. In fact, I received a message from a friend today that said that a certain uh, a certain divine essence was standing at the edge of her bed. And I said, well, that's your aspects taking on form now. you know, I mean, these are things we're looking at ourselves, these visitations, these communications, the downloads, the intuition. This is our aspect speaking to ourselves. And it's a good subject. It's a very good subject uh, when we consider everything that is, you know, put in front of us, everything that is presented to us uh, collectively. These are the stories that are the real truth, and these are the stories that need to get out. Now, have you had guidance and directions from your aspects as to what your purpose is here, what your mission is?
Not clear yet. It just, you know, I created also Heart Over Me, the platform, which I created 2 years ago. And I'm always lucky to find a place to live where is no internet. So I'm stuck a little bit. And now I hope it will get in the real mood, like, you know, but I had visions in dream time, also during meditations, where I have seen, and I feel like there is big need to do something, like, you know, we have to be active and we have to at least to be neutral, if not positive.
Yes.
You know, it
Yes.
is like at least something, and it is very good at what you do. Great appreciation for your work, and that you allow people to feel not lonely with them, with their strange ideas.
Well, crazy is the new normal.
Yeah, maybe.
And I like what you said too, because it is tricky. It's so tricky to remain neutral.
Yeah.
Because so many things can pull us into a negative or a positive charge, and we know that we're both in a sense. But you know, things such as some of these stories that are being told, where there's good guys and bad guys, or good and evil, or right and wrong. This is not really our reality. This is more of our method of learning. How do you stay neutral with so many things being presented to you, as all of us, every day? How do you stay neutral?
Just another thing, what I remember when I was living in the southern France, there's Maria Magdalena and the Cathars story. And what I love about them, that they have once a year, I have forgotten the day, they have in the Montsegur, the last battle place where the Cathars have been burned. So they have a spectacle, a game where they change roles. The 1 year they are soldiers, and part group is like Cathars, and the next year the soldiers, they became the Cathars.
So and they take turns being one side or the other.
Exactly.
That was the last battle place. Is that what you said?
Yes.
I think, yeah. I'm not sure of the name because but I heard the story, and it really moved me, and I actually resonate a lot with the Cathars, you know, through past memory, I guess. And but there's a story, and you talk about being neutral, and I believe the way the story goes is that there was, I don't know, like maybe 200 Cathars left. There wasn't very many women, men, and children. And then the soldiers came and they had to surrender. And they put them in a stockade, like where they keep horses. And they closed it up and they set it on fire. And the interesting thing is that not one single sound was heard, not one cry, not one agony or anything. And I find that a very moving story, and that really is saying a lot of things. It says that neutrality, having no charge, is possible, and two, that we do have help. We do have assistance from the non-physical, you know, from the Creator.
I'm also very connected with Cathars, and that's what I wanted also to share before the neutrality, how I try to be neutral. When I started going, I arrived to the southern France because of Maria Magdalena. But when I arrived there, I discovered many other things. And one of them, it was Cathars.
Let
So,
me ask you. I want you to continue because I'm very interested in what you have to say about the Cathars. But tell me about Mary Magdalene.
yeah.
How did that essence visit you? Did it speak to you? How did Mary Magdalene guide you to the south of France?
Well, I remember my first trip started regarding her without realizing that I was guided by her. I arrived to Montserrat in the northern Spain to the Eastern time. And by accident, I was dressed in a ruby color dress. It was so many coincidences. Till what I did, how I did, the people I met, it was, and lately just on the end, somebody told me, you look like Maria Magdalena and your hair is like,
Mhm.
like, that's how it started. And that's why when I started living, especially in the mountains where she used to be, and when I was going to the places where she used to live, it's just intuitive knowing in the morning, you have to go there.
Yeah.
And then in 1 hour, somebody is coming to you and asking, Eugene, what are you doing today? Do you want to go to this cave? Oh, yes, of course. I just thought about it.
Wow. So this is in southern France, but it's also, you said, in northern Spain.
Yes.
Is that anywhere near Asturias?
I don't know if this is Asturias, but Montserrat is very well known.
Okay.
It's a
Yeah.
Barcelona, and up to the Barcelona, there is Montserrat. It is people talk about Black Madonna, but this is the place.
Yeah. Now, do the people from the south of France and the northern Spain, do they speak of Mary Magdalene a lot? Do they speak of her story and because I find that interesting because obviously the church doesn't really recognize her, but do the local people speak about her?
Of course,
Yeah.
of course. But even I think in the 14th, 15th, 16th century, it was the cult of Maria Magdalena. And even several church places, they claim to be the last living place of Maria Magdalena.
Okay.
Which is good also, because it is, you can, when I was traveling in Vietnam, I realized that sacred should stay secret.
Yes.
It is not necessary to share. So there are many caves, they claim to be caves of Maria Magdalena.
Okay.
There are many places claim to be like that. And the true, like, you have to feel with your heart.
Yes.
And if you get a call, you will go and you will find out.
Yes. Do you think that there is a connection? I mean, there's been a lot of discussion about the fact that this world has become became very patriarchal, and there was a false masculine power, which means that the feminine power was suppressed and oppressed. Do you think that there's a connection with the energy or the consciousness or the story or the lineage of Mary Magdalene and the ascension?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, no doubt about it. But also, we shouldn't stay too long in that, because it's easy to. It's again, we have to acknowledge what happened. It is not possible to hide anymore. But again, we have to stay neutral.
Yes.
Like when I have seen my past lives, I have seen me being woman and man. So how I can say now I should fight for women and I should discriminate men? I was also man.
Yeah.
That's how I keep neutral, because I try to get above and to see from soul level. And if you go there and you stay down, then it's very easy to stay neutral.
Yeah. And what about the Cathars? The Cathars seem to also be a very important part of our history in terms of what's going on now. I know that they had almost like protectors of the secreted knowledge of Mary Magdalene and Yeshua and so on. What is your experience? What did you learn about the Cathars? You were going to talk about it a minute ago.
Yeah. The first time I heard the hymn of Cathars, I was blown. Like I couldn't even breathe anymore. And time by time, I realized that. Do you know that before to be born, like the leader of the Cathars, he told that in 700 years they will come back, and this is exactly the time now.
Wow.
That's why to many people it is very high vibrational. Like, you know, if you even speak Cathars, but if you hear the sound, it is amazing. So my husband, I'm sure he's also from Cathars.
Now wait, you said when you hear the sound, what do you mean by that?
Okay, let me think a little bit and then maybe you will understand. I hear the hymn and the melody just stuck in my mind. I couldn't get rid of it. And then I put Lithuanian words because the original song is in ancient, Cathar language, which is difficult for me to remember. So I put Lithuanian words. Yes. But the fact is also, when I started translating the words, what they say, it was exactly initiation which I had in spirit. Okay. What I have seen, what I felt. So just, and then, okay. Amžinybės upės teka, jo nesvarda jo čiurlenam, žiloji ožka veda į ji tave vis dar mena
Wow. And then you said, that's beautiful. Thank you. And then you said that we're going to talk about your husband in a second. I want to ask you, you said something a second ago. Oh, so you hear the hymns and you understand the meaning of the words.
It was not like that. It was the hymn. I heard it. It is beautiful. It is simple, like, you know, like simple melody. Ancient, in each countries we have ancient melodies. It is like that. When I started going to the special sacred places, when I was alone and in meditation, suddenly I always wanted to sing that song. Then I realized through the sound, they are going to activation of something.
Yes.
So because I couldn't remember the words, because they have been so complicated, one day I thought, okay, I should look the original and I should translate the words. What does it say exactly? And when I translated, it was exactly what I had a feeling by visiting to those places. Like, you know, you are attracted, like yes. One special place. I went to one ruin of a castle with my husband, and then what happens? Wild goat is meeting me. Wild goat.
A wild goat.
Yes. She's meeting me. And she's like inviting me to follow her. So in the beginning, I'm smiling, and she's inviting only me, not my husband. So I start following her. Then she makes me to visit all castle. On the end, she brings me to another place where is all other goats. And I hugged her, I made picture with her. I was saying they didn't realize I'm human. They have been not scared. When I was translating to him, it is about goats. Like,
Wow.
you know, like everything what happened, everything I was doing without knowing. And this is what I love about my spiritual journey, that I'm getting confirmation afterwards. Not reading books and like, you know, trying to do something, but I'm doing something and then I'm getting confirmation. That's the right thing. And that's what yeah.
Wow. So, and what happened with your husband? You said you feel like he has a Cathar lineage as well?
I'm sure about it. When I arrived to France, I got interested in Cathars and I was asking like, my friends, do you know Cathars? No, nobody knows. His brother was creating something about Cathars. He's collecting information. His family comes from the region, from the mountains. And the most, again, the Montsegur, the main castle, when we have been going like trekking to the castle, like, and after some moment, we started like, you know, getting in trance. You just go without talking, but you realize there's going something on.
Yeah.
And then when we already arrived, I had a feeling I was the perfect, like that, and he was my protector.
Okay.
And I didn't tell him because, you know, it's for men to say I was the perfect and you have been my protector, like, you know, to the guy who was
Almost like you were retracing your steps.
yeah. And but he told me this. He told me, you know, all the time I was so responsible to protect you. And I was thinking, wow.
Wow. And
Yeah.
so now let me ask you this. You obviously have received a lot of connections and guidance from, let's just call it organic or um, earthly consciousnesses or consciousnesses that were incarnated on the earth.
Yeah.
How about, and there's no right or wrong answer, but do you ever receive any type of transmissions or connections with star family?
Okay, just one thing. The hymn, the name of the hymn of the Cathars, the name, it means, oh, how it is now in Le Bouvier. It is a star.
I wonder what star it is.
Yeah.
Pleiadian? Is it Pleiades?
It is connected with Arcturians.
Arcturians.
Yeah. And this is
Wow, that's I'd never heard that before. So the hymn of the Cathars
yeah.
is citing Arcturus.
Yeah. So, you know, then if you go, for example, to Egypt, and Sirius.
So can you repeat that? Your microphone got weird. Oh,
It
wait.
is Egypt.
Wait a minute. Hang on. Something happened. Are you
Okay.
okay? Try again.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's a little bit soft. It's a little bit low.
I'm on
Keep
the
going.
ocean. Maybe that's why. Or I just take off.
Let me see.
Maybe better
Go ahead.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's better. Yeah.
So Egypt is obvious connected with Sirius.
What's connected with Sirius?
Egypt.
Egypt. Okay, that's right. Yeah.
So
Okay.
it is. I don't make any difference. I think it is all the same creator.
Yes, of course. Yes.
It is. There is no. It depends on how you integrate the information.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
and which names you put on it.
Yeah, of course. So where does that leave you today? Where, after all the stuff that you've been through and all the information that you've been given and all these places all over the world that you've been, all these sacred sites, where are you at today with it? How do you, what's your focus? And what do you think, what's your focus, and where do you think we are collectively, humanity?
That's a very interesting question. I'm still on my journey as I wrote, it's still not finished. Like a few days ago, when I come back from Egypt, each day I'm still getting puzzles in my puzzle, big puzzle. So we are still, and each of us, we are there. And I think there is never end. Like, like we say,
Yeah.
the highest now is the Christus consciousness, or is a little bit above, but it's still limited.
Yeah.
And it's always more. There is never end. So yeah.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Wherever you are, the mission, when you are getting some level of consciousness, is to help others who are not there yet.
Yes.
That's the responsibility.
Yes.
At least stay neutral. And that's where is my focus.
Yes.
And
yes, I like that.
And whatever I do, it is like getting downloads, or like feeling I have to do it. And when you start going in this intuitive journey, it just happens.
Yes.
And when you're going to the right direction, you know it.
Do you think, or do you feel that as we individually and collectively retain more and more and more of neutrality, do you feel that our spiritual abilities will increase, like telepathy, teleportation, space, interstellar travel, things like that?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm going to ask you, what's the most incredible experience that you had in all your travels and all your communion? Because you've been all over the place. I mean, you've been to a lot of sacred sites. What's the most incredible thing that ever happened where you just kind of went, oh my God, maybe I am crazy, right?
Yeah, I think that what happened in Israel but in each place I couldn't say. First time, first is always most impressive. First past life regression.
True. Yeah, true.
First time connection with with animals. When you realize that the animals are behaving like you are also animal. And you start seeing the social connections in animal groups.
Yeah.
And you are getting what they think, and you recognize how they see you. So the first time in each, I couldn't say, because I was blessed to be able to travel so much, and each country was special. And I remember Tibet, I was it was just 1 second, but I get the bliss of unconditional love. And I shared this moment with somebody which I didn't know, but in that same moment, we both got it.
Yeah.
And this is 1 second, you cannot describe the blessing of it, but it is not interesting that you are telling about it, but when you feel it.
Yeah.
And then you see the person who is not spiritual, but he feels this blessing. So, or for example, when I was in Vietnam, and we went to one of ancient temples. And when the official excursion was finished, suddenly I had a guidance to go to another side of temple. And when I entered, I started shaking, and I realized that I was coming to my ancestors. But those ancestors, they have been dragons.
Dragons.
And I was like, oh, and then you realize, oh my,
Well, you're speaking dragons. Now you're talking my language. So,
Yeah,
and then now, how long have you been with your husband?
we have a, well, it is, I wouldn't go too long in that story because it's not that funny story. It's sad story. It's almost
Oh,
finished.
I'm sorry. I thought you were still, I was just curious as to when two people are going through all this stuff. Yeah.
That
No.
was the most interesting thing because that's also the interesting to observe because I was on my spiritual journey and I want to go and I am guided to go to spiritual places and he's not on that journey. So we are arriving to the mountain, for example, we are arriving to a church and he goes to the church and he says, oh, you know, it's closed. I told you, it is no way to go there. It's closed. So I'm getting out from the car and coming to the second floor of the church. I'm entering the church. And he says, how did you know? I don't know. I just knew. So it was quite, we had connection. We had to make common journey for sure.
Yes.
It,
Yes. Wow.
I'm grateful. He was my biggest teacher.
Yes.
And he teach me to learn many, he pressed me to learn.
Now you're living in France now, right? You're in Toulouse?
No. I am on the Atlantic coast. I see ocean through the window. It is
Ah,
in the north.
and the part of northern Spain that you went to, could you see the ocean there?
There is like we have to know that not only one place, like the Pyrenees, the mountains, they are in
Yeah.
the now northern Spain and today
Yes.
in the southern France.
Okay.
But in ancient times, it was not like that. They used
Okay.
to live different, like one of them is, I don't know how to say in English, Basque people.
Yes,
Basque,
Basque. Yeah.
and another it is Catalonian.
Yes.
So
Catalonia.
it's completely different. After, you know, now it became, it is quite a sad story because they are very special places, very powerful places,
Yeah.
not much known.
I've never been there, but my family comes from Asturias, which is in Llano,
Mhm.
on the other side of the mountains,
Okay.
on the water. In fact, it was one of the only places that the Moors could not conquer because of where it was located. I've never been there, but I just wondered. I was trying to figure out where that was located, where you were at. But I know
Oh,
I know it's a very special place. I've done a lot of research on it. So
please,
are you? What's that? I'm sorry.
you are welcome, please.
Oh yeah.
Because I was living there, I was traveling each weekend while I was working. All my weekends I spent in the mountains. And when I had the possibility, I just stayed in the mountains. Each day going to the places and connecting and doing things.
Do you in your travels, specifically in France and Spain,
Yeah.
are you finding more people are waking up? Are you finding people that are talking about awakening or ascension
Of course.
or strange things happening to them?
Yeah, of course. Everywhere people talking, but we have to, you know, of course, if you go to a special vibration, you are meeting, you are even traveling over the continents, you are traveling in your world,
Yes.
you know, so it is like, in general, what I would say, even the development is quite different on different levels. And you can see, it depends the language, because language is quite, you know, world. If you don't speak English, if you don't speak, for example, French people, they don't they don't speak English. So they
Yes.
see their own world, but they search spirituality and they develop own theories. So, and in Lithuania also, those who doesn't speak English, but they speak Russian, the old generation, they
Yes.
have quite different view. But what I say, it is just question of names. You
Yes.
know, it
Yeah.
is.
Uh, uh, my friend Ana Isabel Espirito Santo. She's in Portugal. She wanted to know, have you been in Portugal?
Yes, I was in Portugal, but before my awakening.
Okay. Now in people will may be very interested in finding out where they can learn more about what you're doing. Do you have, I believe you have the Heart Over Me is a talk, is I think it's a talk show. I think I saw a video. And do you have a website, or is it a Facebook page or YouTube, or can you
Yeah,
just?
that's exactly why, because when I, like few weeks ago, somebody contacted me and helped me to make a web page.
Okay.
And made me YouTube, so it's quite new everything, even if the idea was 2 years ago I started doing, but then we lived 1 year in China, so it was no internet anymore or limited, and no Google and YouTube. So Heart Over Me, if you look on Facebook, there is page, and the main thing what I feel to be called to do, I'm quite intuitive, and I do some kind of angel tablet readings.
Okay.
But what I don't do, and I'm very aware about it, I try not to program people.
Yes.
You know, not to say to tomorrow you are going to do blah blah blah. But if somebody really faces issues, what I try to do, I try this person to raise his consciousness, or at least vibration, that he or she can find solution or see the situation with different eyes.
You show them the way.
Yeah,
You
sometimes it's just enough to be in contact
yes.
and to go in the meditation, and the person sees himself and says, oh, that's happened to lately, when the person just started laughing. The big problem become laughing.
Yeah.
Doing
Isn't
something.
it funny how you can start laughing when you start to see things for what they were? I've had those experiences thanks to
Exactly.
my wife. So, okay. So please put your links in the comments. Now, this is live on YouTube and Facebook on this page, and also 3 other pages. But you could put the links on my page on the video when the show's over, and on YouTube if you'd like, so people can reach out to you. And I just want to say thank you so much for your patience, and for, it took a while to get you on, and I enjoyed the collaboration. It's very interesting, and I look forward to maybe catching one of your broadcasts. Is there anything that you would like to announce or tell people about?
Well, why I'm doing Heart Over Me, maybe. Heart Over Me, it's about following your heart and doing what really you want to do.
Yeah.
That's where it starts.
Yes, I agree with that. That makes it real simple.
Yeah.
It makes it real simple just to follow your heart and align your heart with the universal heart.
Even
Yeah.
if you fall on your nose, you will stand up and you will continue and you will find your way.
And even if you fall backwards in the shower, something will catch you and put you back on your feet.
Exactly.
Thank you, dear sister.
Thank you. Thank you.
Peace out to you, and all blessings to you and yours.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.